The Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha met with his U.S. counterpart Marco Rubio and Senator Lindsey Graham in Antalya on May 14th, ahead of direct talks between Ukraine and Russia and Türkiye. Sybiha shared on X he had outlined President Zelenskyy's vision for peace efforts ahead of negotiations. On May 15th, Ukrainian and Russian delegations are expected to meet in Istanbul in what could become a pivotal moment in the ongoing full-scale war. Sybiha met today with the Weimar Plus group consisting of the Minister for Europe and Foreign Affairs of France alongside the German and Polish foreign ministers. The group coordinated their next steps with the US in efforts to ensure long-term peace and security in the region, emphasizing more pressure must be put on Moscow. Russia's delegation for the upcoming negotiations with the Ukraine in Istanbul on May 15th will be led by Vladimir Medinsky, assistant to the leader of the Russian Federation, reported TASS on Wednesday. Putin himself will not attend the talks, noted Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov. Also representing Moscow are the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Deputy Minister of Defense, and the head of the Armed Forces General Staff. President Trump will also be absent from the talks, he announced during a state visit to Qatar on Thursday.
You know, if something happened, I'd go on Friday if it was appropriate. But we have people right now negotiating, and I just hope that Russia and Ukraine are able to do something.
NATO Foreign Ministers arrived for the opening of an informal meeting session in the southern Turkish province of Antalya on Thursday, as the Ukraine-Russia peace talks are due to start in Istanbul on the same day.
Ukraine is ready to commit to a ceasefire and immediate negotiations. That's absolutely clear. The ball is now clearly in Russia's court. They have to explain what they are doing, why they are here or not, and with what team or whatever. But let's make sure that we all understand that the ball is in their court. Ukraine is wanting to start the negotiations as soon as possible. And as I said before, it is thanks to the Americans and President Trump that the deadlock has been broken. It's now up to the Russians to make sure they take the next steps necessary.
Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said on Thursday there was a new window of opportunity to achieve peace between Ukraine and Russia, adding that he hoped planned talks between the sides in Istanbul would open a new chapter.
Our efforts to bring the war in Ukraine to a just and durable end will be an important part of our discussions. You all know that Turkey has always stressed the need for a diplomatic track to this end. Now, after 3 years of immense suffering, there is finally a window of opportunity. The talks in Istanbul, hopefully, may open a new chapter. Our meeting today will be an important occasion to discuss how we can individually and collectively support this process.
The US and Europe are preparing further sanctions on Russia's energy and financial sectors, French Foreign Minister Jean-Noël Barrot said ahead of the informal meeting.
I will be meeting with Senator Lindsey Graham in a few minutes to discuss his sanction package that has been mentioned by Marco Rubio earlier, and that we want to build upon to add European deterrence sanctions to this US package with one single objective, which is to get Vladimir Putin to cease fire and to enter peace negotiations. What will these deterrent sanction package recover? Well, they will include sanctions on oil and sanctions on financial institutions, because this is what is today fueling Russian war of aggression against Ukraine.
Speaking at the NATO meeting in Turkey, US State Secretary Marco Rubio said that Trump was open to almost any mechanism that would lead to peace.
The big issue on everyone's mind is what's happening with Russia and Ukraine. The President of the United States has been abundantly clear he wants the war to end. He's open to virtually any mechanism that gets us to a just, enduring, and lasting peace. And that's what he wants to see. He wants to see an end to wars. He wants to keep wars from happening.
On arrival at the airport in Türkiye, President Zelenskyy stated that the level of the Russian delegation was a sham, wrote Ukrainian activist Ternenko on Telegram. Zelenskyy stressed that all the heads of Ukraine's intelligence agencies are present in Ankara and further steps will be decided after meeting with the Turkish President Erdogan once they understand the Russian mandate.
We need to understand what kind of level the Russian delegation is and what mandate they have and whether they can make any decisions, because we all know who makes decisions in Russia.
The Kharkiv Operational Tactical Group has reported that the Russian army has already launched its summer offensive. Pavlo Shamshin, spokesperson for the group, said during a telethon broadcast on May 15th that military personnel on the front line have observed Russian occupying forces amassing troops effectively beginning their summer offensive campaign. He emphasized that there should be no expectations for a ceasefire in the near future.
The enemy is attacking using armored assault vehicles, tanks in particular. Also, the enemy uses their now staple tactics of motorized infantry that predominantly uses motorbikes for transporting stormtroopers.